There's magic in the air. It's almost Christmas. This is where dreams come true. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of people asking for things like a new system, for example, a PS5, and I'm sure that a lot of people will find them under their tree this year. That is, unless you're gifted one from the Charlotte Hornets. It's Sunday, so let's get sensational. I'm Mike, and this edition of the gaming news will be a slam dunk. Kind of like a basketball game. Look, I don't do the sports, alright? I'm trying my best. Unlike the Charlotte Hornets when they tried to make it seem like they gave a kid a PS5, and then later took it away. So on December 16th during halftime, the Hornets brought some kids on the court and they asked what they wanted, and there was one kid that asked for a PS5. The mascot then came up and gave the kid a PS5, and of course it was like a nice moment. The crowd cheered, people threw their babies in the air, champagne bottles popped, you know, the normal stuff. Well, after the cameras went off, some thugs came up to the kid and they were like, nah, player, that PS5 was only for show, and they took that jank back. And then they gave him a jersey and some free tickets instead. A jersey that I'm sure will increase in value once they start winning more. Anyway, according to the story from Kotaku, apparently the kid's uncle was aware that they were going to take the PS5 back and didn't tell his nephew. But either way, like, it's an NBA team, so why pretend to give a kid a PS5 in the first place? It's $500, and you mean to tell me that they couldn't afford to just, I don't know, like actually just give the kid a PS5? Anyway, of course the story got out there, the team apologized, and now they're actually giving him a PS5, and they said they're going to go above and beyond to make things better. They blame the whole thing on miscommunication, and the whole thing had been described as a skit, but like, what was the point? Saying it was a skit is kind of weird to me. It sounds like they were just, you know, being cheap, but at least they did make things right in the end. But you know what isn't cheap? Sony's investment in Kadokawa. So a few weeks ago, there was a rumor going around that Sony was looking to buy FromSoft's parent company, Kadokawa. At the time, Sony didn't say anything related to the rumors, and Kadokawa said that they received an offer from Sony, but they hadn't decided if they were going to move forward yet. Well, it looks like, as of right now at least, that Sony isn't buying Kadokawa, but has become its largest shareholder after investing $318 million, or 2 billion yen, in the company. The company's also announced that they're doing a strategic business pairing that includes bringing some of their video game IP to film and TV, co-producing anime, and publishing video games. So it looks like the two companies are partnering together for now, instead of Sony just outright buying them, but the IGN article does go on to mention why Sony decided not to buy them. Apparently Sony was only interested in purchasing the anime and video game related parts of the company, and Kadokawa didn't want to spin off those two and sell them, so basically Sony would have had to buy the whole company, which is currently valued at $4.7 billion. So I guess they didn't want to spend that much money right now, so instead they just did a large investment and are partnering with them. And let's be honest, this probably works out better for Kadokawa's game studios, considering how some of the studios Sony's purchased recently have fared under them. Either way, I guess we'll see how this partnership works out in the future. Alright, it's that time of week again to talk about layoffs, and this time it's from 11-Bit. So 11-Bit is a Polish company best known for Frostpunk, which was a city building survival game that came out in 2018. They have been working on their next project, which was supposed to be a console-focused game. It was codenamed Project 8. Well, it looks like after running into some issues, that project has been canceled, and part of that team has been laid off. It wasn't specified how many people were let go from 11-Bit, but when they started this project in 2018, they had 37 people, so it probably wasn't a huge team. They basically said that the project failed because of the change in market, specifically that single-player games weren't doing as well as they were when they started the project, and that they had a lot of development setbacks due to COVID. And this is also the second week in a row that we've had a Polish studio announce layoffs. Last week we talked about People Can Fly announcing layoffs, so I'm not sure if Poland's being hit hard specifically for some reason. Now 11-Bit did confirm that they're offering severance packages for the affected employees, so hopefully they'll land on their feet, but it sounds like it's really a bad situation all around, especially for a small developer like this. So hopefully everyone's able to bounce back from this situation and able to move forward. Alright, as tradition, after we talk about some bad news, we end up somehow talking about Nintendo. But this time it isn't related to the Switch 2, it's just the regular old, and I mean old, Switch. So let's go ahead and talk about it today. In our final story. So the rumors are true, the Switch is in fact old. Yes, I have confirmed that 2017 was a long time ago, and that the Switch is far from its youthful beginnings. But that time on the market has really benefited it sales-wise. So I talked about this last year, but the Switch have been creeping up on the PS2 sales numbers, but I have been focused on the worldwide sales, not the US specific sales. So in the US, the PS2 is actually number 2 behind the original DS, well, until now. So the Switch has officially surpassed the PS2 in the US as far as number of consoles sold, putting them at number 2 behind the DS. Now there's still 7 million behind the DS in the United States and 3rd overall worldwide behind the DS, with that being number 2 and then the PS2 being number 1 worldwide. But the PS2 was super popular in the US, so it's still a huge feat to surpass that console in any region. Now, as far as worldwide sales, they will still have to sell around 14 million more consoles to catch up with the PS2, which may not happen now that the Switch is coming to the end of its long, and I mean long, life. Now, the article did mention that Switch console sales overall are slowing down, but it makes sense. They didn't have a ton of big games this year because obviously they're focusing development on the Switch 2. But I wonder if by the end of the Switch's life, if they'll stay number 3 overall, or if they'll surpass the DS or PS2 worldwide. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think that the Switch will become the #1 selling system worldwide in the future? Again, let me know down below. And if you enjoyed this video, then make sure to tell a friend, tell a coworker, like, share, and subscribe, and hit that bell notification button thing to be notified when I drop a video or a live stream. And always do at least 2 things at the same time. Merry Christmas.